the country is actually gradually sliding away from democratic approach. You see, when you look at what is playing out in the country, it's becoming clearer to us that the present government doesn't want any dissenting voice from anybody. They don't want the voice of opposition or anybody that will say anything that is different from what they have in mind. They also want to flog us without anybody crying. That is what they want to do. And once you are speaking against their actions, once you are speaking against their policies, you've become an enemy. You know, the initial time the police invited him, we were saying that there was a different intention from what they were painting. And you saw it, even when he got there, there was no clear interrogation there. They were moving from one baseless corner to another. You can't even say that this is exactly what they invited him for. Now, the DSS said it was petition written by NLC, which means it's an NLC thing. Or did the NLC person or persons accuse the president of being a terrorist or what? They haven't told us. Because if it's labor matter that has to do with labor union activities, why should DSS be involved? That is the first question. Then if it borders on the nation, and you are saying this petition was written, when was it written? And why must it be when he was attending TUC conference, international conference for that matter, that you should hold him? Was there any restriction on his movement? Did you give him order not to move out of the country? Because sometimes when they talk, they believe that we're all dafts and they're the only people that know everything, principally because they were given the powers to lead. That we are given the power to lead doesn't mean that your followers do not have sense. That is what some people do not understand. And it doesn't also mean that you think faster than the people you lead. It's only that somebody must be in front.
Look for a fine. Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, NNPC has debunked the news regarding explosion at Warri Refinery. Proposals from 30 new states did not meet constitutional requirements, Deputy Speaker. Tremors exposes dangers of Santorini's construction boom. And during double and Ronaldo strike, is Al Nassr to 3-0 win. Stay with us for details.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was...
Why the main market is in chaos. People...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it to by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, has clarified that there was no explosion at the Warri Refinery Petrochemical Company, WRPC Delta. Olufemi Shonaya, Chief Corporate Communications Officer of NNPC Limited, in a statement said that any reports suggesting otherwise were completely false. Shonaya said that on January 25, 2025, operations at WRPC Area 1 were intentionally curtailed to carry out necessary intervention works on select equipment, including field instruments that were impacting sustainable and steady operations. He said that the NNPC Limited remained committed to ensuring uninterrupted product supply and appreciates the patience and cooperation of all stakeholders towards completing the essential maintenance activities. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, said that it destroyed fake, expired, substandard drugs worth 4.7 billion naira in River State. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Christiana Adeyeye, made the remark during the destruction exercise at River State dump site in Port Harcourt. Adeyeye, represented by Mr. Chukura Olibu, the NAFDAC Director, South-South Zone, explained that the products were all seized from 6 states of the South-South Zone. They are Rivers, Bayelsa, Edo, Delta, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River. He stated that investigation, enforcement, and destruction exercise was an unwavering resolve and commitment of the agency to protect the lives of the people. She acknowledged that the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, in Edo State handed over 40-feet containers of various pharmaceutical classes of unregistered and substandard drugs, which was part of the items destroyed. The DG commended the sister agencies who assisted NAFDAC in the feat for their unflinching support in the fight against substandard and falsified medicines and harmful products. Agencies included Nigeria Customs Service, NCS, Nigeria Police Force, NPF, Department of State Security, DSS, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC. Dr. Nicholas Bamalong, Plateau's Commissioner for Health, says the state government would ensure the full implementation of health policies for the good of the people. Bamalong was a newly appointed commissioner, said this in Jos during the official handing over ceremony. Commissioner said the health sector was a critical one, which needed effective and proactive service delivery, training, and research. He urged all stakeholders in the sector to promote collaboration to enable him build on what his predecessor had achieved to improve the health outcomes. Earlier, Dr. Cletus Chorok, the outgoing commissioner, called on the staff of the ministry to lend their support to the new commissioner to move the health sector to its zenith. Chukok thanked Governor Caleb Mutfwang for the opportunity to serve, contribute his quota during his tenure as the Commissioner for Health. A women and girls advocate, NECA Dikocha, has identified the lack of adequate water supply as a major contributor to some illnesses in women and children. Dikocha, who spoke on Signature Morning on Signature TV, noted that about 2 million Nigerians do not have access to water supply as of 2024. She emphasized the need for people to practice hand washing and waste management to maintain good hygiene. She also advised women to ensure that utensils used to feed newborns are properly washed and kept to avoid illnesses that can harm their health. The culture called on governments to prioritize the provision of constant water supply, especially in rural areas.
In 7 out of 10 households, women and girls bears the brunt of the responsibility of fetching water. So the barrier is the barrier of age, poverty, stress, economic status are some of the challenges that we experience. Talking about vulnerable groups, even people who are disadvantaged, some of our brothers and sisters who cannot make good use of their legs or their arms, you find that where they live, there is no water. So how do we expect them to actually trek to wherever the water is to go and fetch um, water. So that's a very big barrier to having access to water supply. You see people trek long distances going to look for water, and it's a big challenge. In the process of girl child going to look for water, she can be raped. You know, women start with responsibility of taking care of the home, washing plates, washing clothes, cooking, and they don't have access to water. It's a big challenge.
She encouraged private businesses to invest in water supply and advised philanthropists from different local governments to collaborate with a local government chairman to provide some of the needs of the communities. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, said that none of the 30 proposals for new states met the requirements of Section 8 of the Constitution. Kalu, in a statement issued by his media office, clarified that the Parliament has not taken a position on the issue, explained that to create a new state, Constitution requires 2/3 majority vote in the Senate, the House of Representatives, state houses of assembly, and local governments. Carlos said the National Assembly was committed to following the procedure and is inviting the applicants to resubmit their proposals once they've complied with the constitutional guidelines. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has called on Nigerian media to back the call for the establishment of an electoral offences tribunal. The Commission highlighted the need for dedicated legal framework to ensure the swift prosecution of electoral offenders. Chairman of Nigeria's electoral umpire, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, laid the emphasis during the Commission's first regular quarterly consultative meeting with media stakeholders in Abuja. Yakubu pointed out that judiciary processes are slow, adding that offenders are currently prosecuted in magistrate and state high courts where they compete for attention with numerous other cases. Said the Commission is currently prosecuting 774 electoral offenders from the 2023 general elections, collaboration with the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA. Yakubu called on the media to amplify advocacy for the tribunal. Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, in its response to the Union Secretary, Ajike Chude, who represented the newly elected NUJ President, Hassan Yahya, assured the Commission of the Association's continued collaboration, emphasizing that the success of the electoral body is crucial to Nigeria's democracy. An economist, Dr. Amobi Ifediora, has questioned the rationale behind the increase in the 2025 national budget from 49.7 trillion naira to 54.2 trillion naira. Dr. Ifediora, who featured on Signature Morning, a flagship program on Signature TV, expressed doubt if the additional funds were used effectively to improve the lives of ordinary Nigerians. He noted that previous budgets have not led to any significant improvement in the living condition of Nigerians or provide feasible infrastructure. He said that even when policies are created with good intentions, they fail because those in charge prioritize personal gain over actual impact.
If you look at today compared to 3-4 months ago, there's at least a bit more stability in the economy now from some of the things that have been experimented. Inflation has actually slowed down. It's still high at about 34-35%. But the rate at which prices were going up last year has been curtailed a little bit more. There's more economic activity going on. And so that's why we can even see some of these additional revenues coming in that the government wants to now apply to, certain core areas that they have identified. Yeah, and so if and when all these documents, like you said, are harmonized, that will, will actually be fantastic.
The Ministry of Education clarified that the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, merely proposed the introduction of a 12-year basic education system. The ministry stated that reports of an immediate policy change on the matter were untrue. Several media outlets have suggested that a new policy aimed at scrapping the junior and senior secondary school system was already in effect. In a statement by the Director of Press at the Federal Ministry of Education, Falashade Boriowo, the ministry emphasized that the National Council on Education would review the proposal before any final decision is made. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has appointed new heads of Special Intervention Squad and Marine Unit. In a statement, the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, said appointments aim to strengthen internal security and improve the police force response to violent crimes. The statement also announced the appointment of Chima Agarashi as the new Force Marine Officer tasked with enhancing security and tackling crime along the nation's inland waterways. IG assured the public of a force's unwavering commitment to addressing security threats and maintaining a safe environment for all citizens. The Gombe State Police Command has imposed a night curfew restricting movement between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. starting from Friday, February 7, 2025. Command spokesperson DSP Buhari Abdullahi, in a statement, announced enforcement of a curfew, citing rising security threats in the area. Buhari emphasized that the police would prioritize the safety of life and property in the state to ensure Gombe remains secure. He called on the public to cooperate with the curfew and urged parents to warn their children to avoid violating the order, warning that those caught breaking the curfew will face stiff consequences. Up ahead, Trump says Japan will double defense spending, approves $1 billion in military sales. ICC president condemns U.S. executive order seeking sanctions on its officials. There's more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Hundreds of small earthquakes that shook Greece's tourist hotspot of Santorini this week have revived concerns about the safety of a decades-long construction boom along the island's sheer volcanic cliffs. The tremors prompted the government to declare a state of emergency. Meanwhile, thousands of people left on planes and ferries. Authorities announced landslide warnings for 5 areas, including Santorini's main port, and cordon-off areas along the caldera, the rim of an ancient sunken volcano whose sides plunged into the clear waters of Argin. Natural disasters are not new to the island, which was formed by a volcanic eruption in 1600 BC, and which experienced a devastating earthquake in 1956. Modern building boom began in the 1980s to lure back tourists. Earthquake expert and Professor Ethnomios Lekas, head of Greece Earthquake Planning and Protection Organization, EPPO, said there have been some 7,000 quakes in 7 days, but the acceleration has been small, which determines the behavior of buildings. Modern buildings, it said, were not a concern. That old and historical buildings could be a problem with a larger magnitude quake of 6.
Greece is a country that has experience with earthquakes, so we have a very strict building code which is applied across the country, especially in those areas that are more earthquake prone, and that is why we feel very, very confident that everything that could be done basically has been done. But for me, it's important to send a very, very clear signal that we're doing nothing more than taking all the necessary precautions, and hopefully in a few weeks this seismic activity will have completely subsided.
We are not afraid. I've heard that a lot of people have left the island, but we weren't so scared. And we are here for 1 week for the vacation, so we didn't want to leave the island.
President Donald Trump announced that Japan has committed to doubling its defense spending by 2027 and approved nearly $1 billion in foreign military sales to Tokyo earlier this week. The announcement came during a joint press conference with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, in which they also spoke of collaborative efforts in cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and semiconductors. A senior Trump administration official told reporters the leaders discussed military training exercises, increased cooperation on defense equipment and technology, foreign investment, and energy. Trump also touched upon his previous interactions with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, suggesting that his relationship with Kim had been beneficial, preventing conflict and maintaining peace.
Japan is committed to double its defense spending by 2027 compared to my first term. They've invested a lot of money, $300 billion in goods and services each year. And I'm pleased to say that this week my administration approved nearly $1 billion in foreign military sales to Tokyo. The United States is totally committed to the security of Japan. We will extend the full strength of American deterrence capabilities in defense of our friend and ally. Today, our teams discussed how our two nations can do even more to stay on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence, along with the quantum computing, semiconductors, and other critical technologies.
U.S. President Donald Trump welcomed Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba at the White House and said the two countries will work to cut Washington's trade deficit with Tokyo amid escalating trade tensions threatening to rupture the global economy. Trump said it would also discuss North Korea with Ishiba and Nippon Steel's blocked $14.9 billion attempt to take over U.S. Steel, which he has opposed. Trump, whose first 3 weeks in office have shredded norms and shaken foreign capitals from Ottawa to Bogota, has taken a more conventional approach to Washington's long-standing Asia-Pacific allies, including Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the Philippines. Japan is especially trade-dependent. It is a major exporter, counts on imports for much of its food and natural resources, and many of its firms are deeply invested in and reliant on China. The Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responded to the U.S. Justice Department memo prioritizing the combat against drug cartels over sanctions to Russian oligarchs, saying the U.S. must also play its part in fighting drug trafficking on their streets. A memo from Attorney General Pam Bondi, issued during a wave of orders on her first day in office, but not previously reported, said the effort known as Task Force Kleptocapture would end as part of a plan to countering cartels. The emphasis on drug cartels comes after Trump designated several drug trafficking groups as terrorist organizations, part of a crackdown on illegal immigration and fentanyl trafficking. Prosecutors assigned to the task force will return to the previous post. The changes will be in effect for at least 90 days and could be renewed or made permanent according to the directive. ICC President George Tomoko Akane condemned the U.S. executive order imposing sanctions on International Criminal Court officials. Akane's statement said that such measures threaten the court's independence, impartiality, and its crucial role in delivering justice to victims of global atrocities. U.S. President Donald Trump authorized economic and travel sanctions targeting people who worked on International Criminal Court investigations of U.S. citizens or U.S. allies such as Israel, repeating action it took during its first term. The move was a protest against the court's arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and came as the Israeli leader was visiting Washington. A Kenyan statement condemned the sanctions and said the ICC stands firmly by its personnel, pledges to continue providing justice and hope to millions of innocent victims of atrocities across the world and all situations before it. The ICC was established in 2002 to prosecute war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, and the crime of aggression when member states are unwilling or unable to do so themselves. It can prosecute crimes committed by nationals of member states or on territory of member states by other actors. The United States is not a member state. Altadena residents displaced by the Eaton fire that destroyed thousands of structures last month are one step closer to recovery this week. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers officially began Phase 2 of wildfire debris removal in the city, beginning their efforts at 2 Pasadena School District schools ravaged by the fire. The Army Corps of Engineers is leading the cleanup efforts in London with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, which is responsible for removing all household hazardous materials from destroyed sites. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said at a news conference that the hazardous cleanup by the EPA should be finalized in February, paving the way for residential debris cleanup. Tens of thousands of Slovaks returned to Central Square in the capital to protest what they see as a policy shift by Prime Minister Robert Fico aimed at moving closer to Russia. Protesters gathered in dozens in other cities and towns across the Central European nation, and a large group also gathered in the Czech capital, Prague. Tensions have built in recent weeks after Fico's leftist national government attacked progressive opponents, accusing them of attempting to cause chaos and overthrow the government. Government is weighing new preventive measures due to what Fico has said were plans to escalate protests into attempts at illegally overthrowing the government, including by occupying state buildings. Fico has rejected opposition calls to step down. United Nations Human Rights Chief said it was deeply disturbed by escalating crisis in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, urging all those with influence to help halt the violence and warning of a risk that it could spread beyond the country's borders. Congo called a meeting and is asking for it to urgently investigate massive human rights violations it says have been committed by Rwandan-backed M23 rebels in eastern Congo who have taken the city of Goma and are seizing more territory. Rwanda rejected responsibility and warned that it was itself at risk of attack from its neighborhood.
We categorically oppose the DRC attempts to portraying Rwanda as being responsible for the instability in eastern DRC. It is a well-known deflection tactic used to escape being accountable for the atrocities Kinshasa and its allied armed group are inflicting on their own citizens. What is clear, however, is the imminent threat the current situation poses to Rwanda. Following the fall of Goma, new evidence has come in light regarding an imminent large-scale attack against Rwanda.
U.S. cuts in foreign aid are causing a lot of confusion on the ground, despite a waiver being placed on HIV/AIDS programs, UNAIDS said. U.S. President
As I said, there is still a lot of confusion, especially in communities, how the waiver will be implemented, and we're seeing a lot of disruption of delivery of treatment services, especially at the community level. Community delivery of medication, of transport services, community health workers, all of these services are currently still impacted, and we're trying to continue monitoring what's happening on the ground.
Funding overall, as the HQ.
But there is still a lot of confusion about that waiver, and we're hearing and seeing on the ground that it is slowly being implemented. The waiver should mean that 20 million people living with HIV that depend on U.S. Aid for their treatment can continue their medication. That's 20 million out of the 30 million people living with HIV in the world. So it's a huge number of people who depend on that support.
U.S. President Donald Trump put hundreds of millions of dollars worth of foreign aid donations on hold for 90 days upon taking office on January 20. In the following days, the U.S. State Department issued a waiver on the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, the world's leading HIV initiative for life-saving humanitarian assistance. U.S. donations account for the majority of funding for the UN program that operates in 70 countries, leading global efforts to end AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. Still to come, Pakistan PM Sharif inaugurates newly renovated Gaddafi Stadium. Former Greek Prince Nikolaos marries in Athens. Stay with us.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was...
Why the main market is in chaos. People...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said he completely opposed resettlement of Palestinians from Gaza. Scholz, furthermore, said that the U.S. President Donald Trump was wrong to impose sanctions on the International Criminal Court, ICC, as it jeopardized an important institution. Spokesperson of the German Foreign Ministry said in Berlin that Germany would continue to support the ICC, even though it is unclear what sanctions imposed by Trump will mean for the court.
What President Trump has put out there is something I completely reject. We cannot relocate the population of Gaza to Egypt and Jordan. That's not okay. Last remark, the USA is the most powerful country in the world and will remain so for the foreseeable future. It is also the most powerful democracy and our most powerful ally on the other side of the Atlantic. And that is why we have always endeavored to have good relations with the USA in the last decades and will continue to do so in the future. But we do not have to do so from a position of weakness. The European Union is a large economic area. We can do this with a straight back and say our hand is outstretched for good cooperation. But it doesn't mean that we do everything we don't want to do. We can also protect ourselves and, for example, if someone comes with tariffs, we can do something ourselves. But neither of us will do any better. I don't think it's right to impose sanctions on the International Criminal Court. It's so difficult to fight for it to enjoy a reputation and respect.
Pakistan kicked off its multinational armed naval exercise in Karachi with the United States, China, Iran, Russia, Japan, and Australia amongst the foreign navies in attendance. Pakistan naval officials said the biennial event, Exercise Armand 2025, is designed to enhance maritime security and foster cooperation among participants to combat regional and global threats. Flags of participating nations and territories were hoisted alongside Pakistan's flag at the opening ceremony of the exercise at the Pakistan Navy dockyard. Commander of the Pakistan Fleet, Rear Admiral Abdul Munib, emphasized the importance of joint operations and naval stability in his opening address. 5-day multinational naval exercise is set to conclude on Tuesday. China is opposed to U.S. smearing and sabotaging the Belt and Road Initiative in Panama through pressure and coercion. Its foreign ministry said after the South American nation decided to exit the program. At a regular press briefing, ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said Panama's decision is regretful. Panama has formally presented a document to exit the Belt and Road Initiative. President Jose Raul Mulino, after meeting U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio this month, but denied that the United States had sought the move. Ukrainian military said that it shot down 81 out of 112 drones launched by Russia overnight to attack the country. No damage or casualties in Kiev were reported by Ukraine's officials through gunfire, though gunfire could be heard as the city's air defenses attempted to shoot down the drones with small arms fire. Out of a total number launched, 31 drones did not reach their targets, likely due to electronic warfare, the military added. International Atomic Energy Agency IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi arrived in Moscow to hold talks with Director General of Rosatom, Russia's state nuclear corporation, Alexei Likachev. As Grossi explained earlier, he intended to discuss the situation in Ukraine and at Zaporizhzhia plant. The trip comes after IAEA's chief visit to Kiev on Tuesday, where Grossi inspected an electricity distribution substation, warning that attacks on Ukraine's power grid could pose a risk of a nuclear accident by disrupting supply. On Wednesday, Ukraine's foreign ministry said the IAEA has postponed the rotation of its mission to the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant due to a lack of security guarantees from Russia. A senior Russian diplomat rejected Ukraine's assertion. Russia captured Europe's largest nuclear power plant shortly after Russia sent thousands of troops to Ukraine in February 2022. IAEA has deployed staff to the plant since September 2022. Both Kiev and Moscow constantly accuse each other of bombarding the facility's territory. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif inaugurated a newly revamped Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore ahead of the ICC Champions Trophy cricket tournament. Punjab Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz, Pakistan Cricket Board PCB Chairman Mohsin Naqvi, and other officials were also in attendance. Shabab sent out his congratulations before the Pakistan cricket team unveiled a kit for the Champions Trophy amid grand celebration. The redevelopment work, which included upgrading sitting facilities and hospitality boxes, along with installation of LED lighting, was completed in 117 days. Inauguration comes a day before the start of a mini tri-series tournament involving Pakistan, New Zealand, and South Africa, with a similar inauguration planned for the National Stadium in Karachi on February 11. 8-team 50 overs tournament will be the first global competition to be held in Pakistan in 28 years. India, however, will play all their matches in Dubai after refusing to travel to Pakistan over ongoing political tensions. Tournament begins with Pakistan hosting New Zealand in Karachi on February 19, with a final on March 9 in either Lahore or Dubai, depending on India's involvement. Greece's former prince Nikolaos Dougracia married Chrissy Vardinogian, the daughter of Greek shipping magnate, in a private ceremony in Athens. The wedding took place at the Greek Orthodox St. Nicholas Regavus Church in Athens, attended by members of Europe's royal families, including former Queen Sofia of Spain. People gathered outside the church ahead of the ceremony, including supporters of the former royal family. This is the second marriage for the former prince, who is now known as Nikolaos Dougracia, after the former royal family was granted Greek citizenship in December 2024, took the surname, which translates into of Greece in French. Chinese President Xi Jinping was on hand to open the 9th Asian Winter Games in Harbin February 7 during a spectacular ceremony. Crowd of 8,000 and dignitaries, including International Olympic Committee IOC President Thomas Bach, watched the ceremony which opened the Games. A record 35 countries, 1,200 athletes, and over 12,000 athletes will take part in the event that will run from February 7 to 14th. Al Nassr climbed up to third in the Saudi Pro League SPL standings as new signing John Durant and Cristiano Ronaldo powered them to a 3-0 home win over Al Fayyad in Riyadh. Durant, making his league debut, having joined in a big money move from Aston Villa, opened the scoring in the 22nd minute before adding a second 72 minutes. And moments later, Ronaldo netted their third as the hosts moved to 41 points, level with Al Qasidiya, but ahead on goal difference. Al Ittihad topped the log on 49 points, 3 ahead of defending champion Al Hilal, who have a game in hand and face the mark away from home on Saturday. Switzerland's Belinda Betzing fought back from a set down to stun defending champion and top seed Elena Rybakina in their Abu Dhabi Open semi-final. Betzing reached her first WTA Tour final since returning from maternity leave as she claimed 2-6, 6-3, 6-4 win over the Kazakh world number 5. Next up is unseeded American Ashlyn Kruger, who advanced to her first WTA 500 level final with a 7-6, 2-6-4 victory against Czech Linda Noskova. That's the news this hour. I am Barry Kumar Adolf. Thank you very much for watching and saying stay tuned for New Day.
the country is gradually sliding away from democratic approach. You see, when you look at what is playing out in the country, it's becoming clearer to us that the present government doesn't want any dissenting voice from anybody. They don't want the voice of opposition or anybody that will say anything that is different from what they have in mind. They also want to flog us without anybody crying. That is what they want to do. And once you are speaking against their actions, once you are speaking against their policies, you've become an enemy. You know, the initial time the police invited him, we were saying that there was a different intention from what they were painting. And you saw it, even when he got there, there was no clear interrogation there. They were moving from one baseless corner to another. You can't even say that this is exactly what they invited him for. Now, the DSS said it was petition written by NLC, which means it's an NLC thing. Or did the NLC person or persons accuse the president of being a terrorist or what? They haven't told us. Because if it's labor matter that has to do with labor union activities, why should DSS be involved? That is the first question. Then if it borders on the nation, and you are saying this petition was written, when was it written? And why must it be when he was attending TUC conference, international conference for that matter, that you should hold him? Was there any restriction on his movement? Did you give him order not to move out of the country? Because sometimes when they talk, they believe that we're all dafts and they're the only people that know everything, principally because they were given the powers to lead. That we are given the power to lead doesn't mean that your followers do not have sense. That is what some people do not understand. And it doesn't also mean that you think faster than the people you lead. It's only that somebody must be in front. So the way they reason, the way they go about things in the country doesn't suggest that they actually understand the nitty-gritties of democracy.
It is a reflection of a failed government, because in a civilized climate, it is unheard of, despite what we are producing in the country, that today we are experiencing total blackout in the northern part of the country. But I believe with time it may extend to other parts of the country. So the government is not actually doing well. That is my own personal opinion. Because what effort are they doing? What led to it? It is not even made known to the public. Because sometimes they will just allow certain things to go bad, believing that the citizen cannot do anything. They are capitalizing on the complacency and without the self-satisfied nature of the citizens. That's my own personal take on it. As far as I'm concerned, the government is to be blamed. Because when they have made up their mind to render essential services to the people, what aspect of the country is working effectively with respect to the services being rendered by the government? I suggest they should even allow the private sector to handle this thing.
See, I'm from Adamawa State, Temsa local government to be precise. And since I was born, we've not had light, not until 2 months ago. Since inception, since Nigeria was created, not until 2 months ago. Not my own part of it, there are no bandits there. You understand? So we should stop the blame game. It's not the fault of bandits. Let's not give government upper head so that they will not have what they will use as argument against us. It's not the fault of bandits, it's the fault of the government. Because I remember there was even a time in my village when they brought transformers. The same government didn't wire those transformers. Till we don't even know what happened to those transformers. For years, for more than 10 years, those transformers were there. Transformers bought with taxpayers' money, Nigeria's money. Transformers, brand new transformers. How they vanished, till I left my village, was going for Christmas for years, more than 10 years. The transformers were there. There was no light on the transformer. So let's stop the blame game. The government is our problem. The government should sit up and do what they need. The government should see government as business, not as where you come and steal money and frustrate people.
It's not good, Sha, for the thing that is happening, because it's affecting the business and also it's affecting the productivity of the nation. For the citizens, and like for there's no light in the country now, is affecting the businesses of the masses. Businesses are not moving the way it's supposed to be. And for those that are behind the banditry, something that they're talking about, the government should please try and do something about it, so that at least people can go back to their various businesses, and it will help. It will also help to boost the economic of the country.
And the night wey no dey for north, light no dey for everywhere, and people are cry, people are suffer. May government help us for that light and security.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to your favorite weekend show, New Day on Signature TV. It's a beautiful day to be alive. It's the 8th day of February 2025. And fun fact today, in history, precisely in 1910, the largest youth group was incorporated in the United States by William Boyce, talking about the Boy Scouts. So this should be enough motivation for you to go out and begin to chase your dreams. Begin to chase your dreams, incorporate that company, establish that business, enroll for that course. Whatever you do, keep moving. The sky is just a stepping stone. As usual, I'm your host, Chigichi Agorom, and we're going to go on a short break. When we come back, we will start off with our newspaper review and headlines. Please stay with us. Well, many thanks for still staying with us. Don't forget, this is still New Day on Signature Television, and we would love to hear from you. So go on over to our social media platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, at Signature Television Official. Again, at Signature TV Official. Go like, go comment, go share, and of course, subscribe. Welcome to our newspaper headlines. First up, Saturday Punch. And just above the masts, or beside the masts, my brother has never demanded a kobo for funding my election, coming from Adeleke. Tinubu orders database cleanup as federal government uncovers 6,000 Nigerians with NIN. Warri refinery undergoes maintenance 1 month after resuming operation. Government and businessmen back anti-IPOB vigilantes as Southeast violence escalates, with Rider States VIPs raise funds to equip vigilantes against rampaging gunmen. Lagos community where Christians, Muslims, and traditionalists worship side by side. Why I can't blame God for death of 11 family members, coming from ENUGU tanker fire victims' relative. On Ganusi, how funeral snide remark turned instant social media rave. And finally, on the Saturday Punch, Thames crowned Afrobeat new queen, and how police bullets shattered caterer's womb in Ogun. Next up, The Nation, and just above the mast, PDP crisis, fury over Board of Trustees backing for Ude Okoye, with rider that says, Southeast Legal Advisor slams resolution on authentic National Secretary. Our contractual relationship with First Bank of Nigeria by General Hydrocarbons, with rider describes deal as project finance relationships. Both can be found on pages 4 and 6 respectively of the Saturday Nation. And boldly written in front of The Nation, state creation hurdles agitators must scale by Deputy Speaker, says they have till March 5 to fill application gaps. Ex-Minister Turaki arraigned for adultery and others. ICPC arrests former naval chief, NSCDC commandant over alleged 3 billion naira fraud. How kidnappers killed lawmaker after collecting 100 million naira from his account. With rider 9 arrested, 2 pump-action guns recovered from them. And finally, on The Nation, benefits of contactless passport application by Minister. Over to the weekend blueprints. Above the mass, INEC to Nigerians support electoral reforms on page 10, with riders says alterations should include trial of electoral wrongdoers and reiterates call for electoral offences tribunal. Heightened terror attacks in northeast, northwest. Nigerians express fresh concerns, suggest solution. With riders, government must increase military numerical strength to boost war efforts coming from CSO. Nigeria can't win against terrorists without adequate technology coming from experts. Their sources of funding must be tracked, to dismantle them coming from Ishaku. Influx of foreign fighters responsible for renewed attacks coming from headquarters on pages 8 and 9 of the weekend blueprint. Nigerians in Europe can now renew passports online coming from Tunji Ojo. Dark web, bizarre how Nigerian babies are sold online. The historical evolution of Zazao Emirates. And finally, on the blueprints, federal government didn't scrap JSS SSS classes, minister clarifies. And equity market sustains growth profile and gains 371 billion naira. Over to the weekend trusts. Farming is the stupidest thing to do for a retiree, coming from Alhaji Garba Gumel. Your budget lacks transparency, Obi tells Tinubu. A day at Lagos exotic meat market. All 3 news items can be found on page 8, 25, 29, respectively, of the Weekend Trust. Why VP is yet to occupy new house. And finally, on the Weekend Trust, our position on Lagos, Calabar, Sokoto, Badagry roads, Umahi on page 11, and bandits abduct 12 worshippers from Sokoto Mosque on page 25. The Guardian. Shoinka's Death and the King's Horseman lights up Sheffield theatres. And on politics, people are concerned with stomach infrastructure and act with emotions coming from Fahimi. And below the Guardian mast, El Rufai Amechi party chieftains with axe to grind against the APC. Nigeria unveils contactless passport renewal system across Europe. And finally, why Uni Abuja needs more than firing VC. All right, that's the much we can take on our newspaper headlines. And over to our review this morning. And as usual, Chris Madoka is in the studio to do justice to that. Good morning, Chris Madoka. Welcome to the show. As usual, nice to have you here.
Good morning, Chigi. Good morning, everybody.
All right. So let's head on over to the main issue that caught your fancy.
Well, there are so many issues that caught my fancy, but you'll be surprised that I penciled down here APC axe grinding chieftains.
Yeah.
So it's a turn of APC to grind axes. Their chieftains are there to grind axes. And it brings to my mind what I used to say, that whatever a man soweth, he reapeth.
Absolutely.
And then the Nigerian political parties will have to know that the sooner the later. Because breaking of agreements and, conspiracy, what they call the, corporate conspiracy against individuals. Probably at the point you say we are party members, we have constitution, we are moving on, attacking other oppositions, trying to convert new members for our party, and we are talking about party. But when it comes to sitting down to share the dividends, or probably to share positions, some conspiracy will put some people at the back. It's funny that Amechi and the Erufai, of all people, one of the chieftains of APC that were grinding axe. I remember history, we always remember the ATM. The automatic, what they call it, machine.
Teller machine.
Teller machine of the party. Now has axe to grind. It used to be, and that's also a point of reflection for every of these politicians. I keep saying it in Igbo. If you do not know that no matter what you do for your girlfriend's son, he will never call you Papa. If you never know that in Nigeria by now, then you have a lot of thinking to do. A lot of set of people have deceived, marginalized, and they use them as tool against their own people. I remember during the days of, nobody will ever believe that you hear Amechi having axe to grind with APC or Erufai. These are tough people that have done so many things and even attracted bad names to themselves for this single party. Why are they grinding axe now? So whatever a man sow it, that's all I put it. Don't have any issue with them. I don't have any issue with APC. Neither do I have with the PDP nor Labour. I'm here to review the fact that chieftains of APC have asked to grind. And I wish them well. Let them grind it very well.
APC is not exempted from the internal
intra-party squabbles that have...
they're not exempted, obviously.
That we have discussed over time. It was the PDP turn and it's still there. Now APC has entered the line. But then that's what you have. When you are talking about Nigerian politicians, talk about it with a pinch of salt. Because you might think they are grinding axe. The next morning they are sharing whiskey and Hennessy and sharing drinks or grinding some other things that does not sound that deadly. So they are good luck.
All right. Could you speak to this, because it actually it got to me where Tinubu on Saturday point, Tinubu orders database cleanup as federal government uncovers 6,000 Nigerians with NIN.
The same thing, or what I'm saying, that a group of people call themselves a country, gather themselves, and there's a complex country God has created in diversity. Put a lot of people together to become I don't know where they can couch beautiful words. You used to grow up, they tell you is strength in diversity, or whatever. But along the line, unity in diversity, the strength that makes us what we are is that diversity, human resources, natural human resources that God has blessed this country with. And we saw them then. I don't think I'm still seeing the now. When I was growing up, I saw it. There was so much zeal. And when we sing and stand to sing national anthem for this country, it was like, oh God. Some of us went to NYC camps, and when the beagle sounds very early in the morning, you sing national anthem at the anthem of NYC. Youths obey the clarion call. You stand with that, the hairs on your body will rise, and you are looking forward to a nation you are going to. You hit the street of Nigeria nation. You are disappointed. So many things of Nigeria will happen on you. You start thinking something is wrong. Why are we telling ourselves lies? Who gave the Nigerians how many thousands? And these are the ants. You clearly go. Fetch firewood infested with ants. Bring them home. When you see lizard, you start looking at your neighbor's house to whether he sent the lizard to you. Then that person something must be wrong with that person. He's either not thinking well or he's wicked, even unto himself. The porousness of Nigerian borders, and I want me to talk about it. When we have the NIS, the DSS, all the security apparatus that are working at the borders, allow these people in. Sunday they told us, even the terror, the banditry in Nigeria, were part of calculated attempts for some people to hit below the belt, to win a boxing fight. That's, it recalls, I can bring with nostalgia what Azikiwe said. He said, I can never hit below the belt to gain any advantage over my opponent. I will follow the rules. What it means. In a boxing fight, when you hit below the belt, it's deadly, you are disqualified. And imagine men mostly are doing the boxing. When you hit a man below the belt, you know what that means? You actually, you are a murderer. Many of our Nigerian politicians have been hitting below the belt. They forget yesterday, and today is here. What do we have? With that kind of people, I tell you, this banditry and terror that happen in Nigeria, Chigimi and you may have issues, but there's a extent to what I can do to you. When I remember we are Nigerians, we have a lot of ties that brought us together. That's a lot. But when people who do not have any attachment to you are involved to deal with you, relate that to the terror, where people are cutting people's head off. Nigerians, shooting and killing innocent children, women. They will enter a complete village and burn it, and they say it's banditry and that. And people are giving them money to do this. How much will you pay a Nigerian to do this? When a Nigerian is involved in it, he will have some reservations. But when strangers come in, and they open our borders, and these are people that come in, who are they? This is just the tip of the iceberg. You say Nigerians. What about Malians? What about other African countries that have surrounded us, that have looked here as a mining ground? There used to be a story of what some Nigerians will do in South Africa. And the South Africans raised alarm. Because they go there, they feel that they are just going there to make money and come back. So at all means, they can even kill and maim. That's something that's happening here. When you open the borders without data, in 2025, Nigeria is still battling with data. We don't even know the number of Nigerians we have here holding our passport, our NIM, all of the all-powerful NIM. Nigerians that are over 5,000, how much do you say?
6,000.
Are holding that. And when government say, just work it out in your mind that there are over 20 million. True. Over 20 million people in Nigeria that are not supposed to be here that are holding this thing. So if Trump is asking people who are illegal to go, I think deportation is loading. It's loading in so many African countries, and it's loading in so many countries because Udara, the Abalomo tree says, I am not the only tree that bears a child that they always press his mouth. If you white people in the US and you come here, you have illegal immigrants. Higher Kuala Lumpur. It's high time they also go. You used to have when you say a beautiful Ghanaian brothers, or Ghana must go. Sometime now, when you have Nigerians that are over 6,000 that are not supposed to be here, maybe what is loading is Nigeria must go. I don't know. I'm not speaking the mind of the NIS. They know. But if they don't want, let them open the borders more. Well, you know, why are we deceiving ourselves? Open it wide. Why do you keep people there when we have 6,000 people that you cannot determine how they come in here? Open it more. Let Nigerians know. No matter however you prepare your mat, a goat lying on the ground is lying on its skin. Good luck, Nigeria.
All right.
Terror, technology, international community, conspiracy. That's the note I made for myself.
Okay.
You say we need technology to fight terror.
Yeah.
You find that when you have close talk with our Nigerian young men and women who are sacrificing their life every day protecting this nation, like the Nigerian Army and other security agencies, they will tell you that when they are in the forefront, the front line, they see this terror, the terrorists, and the sophistication of equipment they have. You now will ask yourself, these international communities are suspect. Who is supplying these people blood money all over in the name of capitalism? I think we should look back, probably go back to socialism, all those clearing and days when we were growing up. Russia was feeding Nigeria with, you know, socialism and all those kind of things. When it's good for one, it's good for all. They are talking about, but this capitalism that is leading us to blood money when people want to make money. Some international communities, why can't they allow Africa to breathe? They are wicked. They give it one hand and take with the left hand, give you with the right, take with the left. Who is sponsoring terror in Nigeria? Who is giving the sophisticated equipment that Nigerian government cannot even buy? And they sit down in one place, they call the United Nations. United, my foot. It's a union of unequal, wicked people gathered together looking for hawks and vultures, looking for the rats to swallow. And we come back here, we're talking about, look at the terror, the extent of terror and banditry in Nigeria. Some viral videos that are unconfirmed going around, you can't pretend you didn't see them. Helicopters are coming into the bushes, dropping equipment and dollar for people to collect, to fight Nigeria. And they say they don't know about it. They're all fake. If they are fake, there was video of one time during Buhari era that were, they say, there were millions of people crossing as if they are, you know, Israelites when they are leaving Egypt. That was that video, viral video. Nobody talk about it. Open the borders and bring these people in, probably to win election. Now the elections are over. There were issues one time in Anambra State. I was working in media house. There was war in Umuleri and Aguleri that almost cleared when the police and security agents started releasing what happened. That group of communities were fighting. What happened after that fight and it was quelled? The crime that started emanating from around that area of Anambra State because of unused weapon. And some of the thugs that people can go and hire don't have sophisticated those politicians. You know, Nigerian politicians are heartless. Some of them have gathered these young people, gave them drugs, gave them arms, win power, abandoned them, and they face the communities with their weapons. Because when they are hungry, somebody has trained them to kill and maim, and they promise them heaven and earth, and win election, they abandon them, and give them the legendary bicycle man's greeting. Because when you follow, a bicycle man comes to your house, he's following to a point where you want to go, he will show you the backside when you want to climb it, and off. That's what the politicians do to this. So, a lot of issues about how Nigerians are clearly created scenarios, created situations, created template structures of insecurity. And we are facing it. Fortunately, none of them is out of it. None. even the highest at the highest level. You can see people in government. Look at the issue of Anambra State.
Yes.
What is happening?
It's on the news.
Everywhere. It's here in the news.
Yes.
How 100 million from one person's account. Young Nigerians that are not, some of them are not up to 17 years. When you see them, the viral video of when they caught them, and see the rotten body of the honorable member of the house, Azoka. And they start hearing stories of even the nurse that runs a pharmaceutical company, a pharmacy shop in Asaba, how they got involved and all that kind of, and the head will begin to, your head will begin to tingle, and even your ear will tingle at hearing of wickedness that this situation Nigeria has created. Who do we blame? I told the story of ENUGU. Whatever is happening to us now, we cause up. Criminals rob the boss and ask the members of the boss to start singing a song. What is happening to Nigeria? We are the cause. Nobody should blame nobody or blame God for what's happening to us. We created consciously, directly or indirectly, either by wickedness to win, to gain advantage over situations, and it's now showing. Garbage in, garbage out. If they play, they show. What Nigeria has sowed, they are reaping. I wish, only my prayer, let those innocent people, God, in your mercy, remove them from this. Let the head. That's what the proverb that said, let the head that went and stirred up
the wasp.
The wasp. Let him be let him get the stinging of the wasp. Because what you do not know should not know you. Let the people who caused it get higher value of it. What else? It's biblical, Chigi, because I know you are a Christian.
I try to be.
Yeah, you are. You have shown that. No, I put it to you. You are. The Bible said those who did not show mercy, they shouldn't
receive mercy. Let's speak to the state creation and the hurdles agitators must scale. 31 states.
I spoke about it yesterday. I don't want to go back to it. He said, you are creating 31 new wahala. And you know what these people are? I see National Assembly knowing very well creating 31 states is not viable. They are just on there now to cause another hazardous problem for us. We begin to discuss 31 state creation. When 36 plus 1 we have is not working out. Some of them are unviable. Some of them cannot pay 70,000 naira. And they clearly tell you that they can't pay minimum wage. Some of them depend hand to mouth from Abuja FAC allocation. And here we are. At this time, we have so many issues. We go back, National Assembly, with our money, or blood and sweat, sitting down talking about issues that will not work. When it comes to 31 states, some people's leg will be matched and they will cause more tension. Because even if you're going to create states, you may not create up to 31. So which of the regions of Nigeria will you not satisfy with their request for states? It will not come back to creating bad mind where people say they have done selective discharge of favor. That's marginalization, tribalism. These things will start playing out and then making the political situation more expensive and tension. Why? Why do we need 31 states at this time? Yesterday I told them, why are you looking for 31? I've always been that, using that negative psychology to come back, reverse psychology. We have 774 local governments in Nigeria. Why bothering yourself with the only 31 states? Make every local government a state. So that I go back to my state as a member of House of Assembly. If I go there to campaign in my local government, I might win. Or have some close affinity to government, even if it's I start working as clearing the street as a garbage collector.
Right.
Because that will mean development to the grassroots. Why leave it at? Because if you say 36 plus 1, 37, add it 31. It will be more than United States. United States is talking about 50 states. And they started early enough, structuring it and they're building up. If you begin now, what are you going to do?
That's right. All right, that's much we can take for our newspaper review. Thank you so much, Chris. Always a passionate analyst. And I will tell you, watch out for this space as the news and developments, unfold. Don't go anywhere. New Day continues right after this time out. All right.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was
Why the main market is in chaos? People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Yeah, there is no way you totally eliminate alcohol in the society like Nigeria, you understand? So the alcohol of the thing, I don't really know, but there are things that, why would they even put, the Nigeria inflation is not in a balance that somebody will just go to bed without alcohol. You get me right? You will not sleep well. You won't sleep well. Are you with me? Some of us these days if our eyes are not dirty, we cannot sleep. But based on the situation we are facing today, like me in person, if I should go to my bed without the content of small alcohol, I cannot sleep. You got me right? I don't really know if when Nigeria fix our situation, we would divert from alcohol and be eating our food.
Cancer is not minor disease that someone can take for granted. So having linked the alcohol, having linked to the cause of cancer and the rest of it, my advice to those taking alcohol would be that there should be a minimal intake of alcohol, not excessive. And for those that are addicted to it, there will be a kind of sensitization towards it, so that when someone is addicted to something, stopping it entirely will be very difficult. So when sensitization comes in, the sensitization will basically focus on minimizing it, the intake now. And it's also good to sensitize those that have not embarked on taking alcohol or that are not been addicted to taking alcohol. So all I can suggest is proper and thorough sensitization towards the effects or the consequences of alcohol, taking alcohol, or too much of alcohol intake that regards or leading to the cancer problem. I think with that can minimize the rapid increase of cancer.
Normally alcohol is not that bad, but much of it is bad. So You have to, alcohol is good for the body in some certain circumstance, but don't take much of it. It's a risk though, but there are alcohol that is also nutrient, it's a nutrient to the body. For stress, sometimes you need it, though don't take much of it, that is all.
Honestly speaking, we have to like see how we can incorporate, or should I say, have like a lot of rehabilitation centers, and then also try to see how we can cancel all this ethanol, all this rubber drinks on the streets. Let's see how we can take them off the streets. It's affecting, and we should do it now. We shouldn't wait for any time. We should do it now.
It has caused a lot of harm than good. So some people will say that they are taking it because of the situation, they find themselves, and maybe the environment, they're not conducive enough, people due to loss of job and all that, and some other frustrated issues. But the truth is that alcohol has never been a remedy to any issue. Yeah, and also, once you continue taking alcohol due to a problem, it increases it, it doesn't reduce it. So my response to it is that, in fact, it's better to mitigate the use of alcohol entirely. And once that happens, people will begin to find solution to their immediate problem other than running to a shop or a bar to get alcohol.
Many thanks for still staying with us, and welcome to Saturday Retrospect Rundown, when we bring you highlights on some of the very interesting discussions and conversations we had in the course of the week from Monday through to Friday. Well, first up, on Tuesday, we had an interesting discussion within the health sector, and we captioned the abuse of health workers. And we had Dr. Ezora Chima. He is the president of the Association of Resident Doctors. He came into the studio and we had this conversation. Please take a listen.
Within the space of December and January, in Parkland, for instance, we've had over 5 attempts, although only one degenerated into physical abuse. Then there is also another case that was reported at National Orthopedic Hospital in ENUGU here, okay, and then across other tertiary hospitals in ENUGU here. So health workers, yes, there are different forms of abuse, okay. There are physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, okay, but the one that actually triggers the association most, okay, because we are resident doctors, and then we'll have an association called Association of Resident Doctors, and then we're under the umbrella of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. So the one that triggers the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors.
And that was Dr. Ezora Chima on his take concerning the abuse of health workers within the Nigerian healthcare ecosystem. Very quickly to Wednesday, we talked about MPF, talking about the Nigerian police force as they begin third-party insurance. Barrister Uche Madwesi, a legal practitioner, had this to say. Please listen to him.
You have two options. Either you do third-party, which is mandatory, in line with Insurance Act 2003 and even third-party insurance ordinance of 1945. It has always been there. Or you do comprehensive, assuming you have money. Comprehensive means in case of anything, the insurance will take care of the whole thing 100%, assuming your vehicle kind of was damaged beyond repair. The insurance company can provide you a brand new vehicle and all the rest. But for the third party, like if I have a car and I hit your car, child's car, then what my insurance company will do is to go and take care of your car, whatever it entails to repair. But there is a limit up to 3 million because it has been increased. Now the premium used to be 5,000, is now 15,000. So that is it. So it has always been there. When the police said it, everybody was shouting, police, maybe they are now into alliance with insurance companies to help them up their business or whatever. We need not. It has always been there. The problem has been that the police left their job and they were now doing all these things on the road. Because I know time was, if you are driving a car and they are doing these vehicle checks after, they will know whether They will check whether you have a valid insurance cover. But most policemen on the road, if you give them your, how many of them check particulars? They don't. So if you give them particulars, some may not even be, some may find it even difficult to identify a valid insurance cover, even the paper. You understand me? So I'm just using a literal to let you know that they left their jobs. Now they have kind of woken up. A lot of Nigerians will say, how? You know, what is that? It's not, it has always been there. It's lawful. It's their duty to do it. And that is what they are supposed to do. It is mandatory. Third-party insurance cover is mandatory.
Yeah, but again, one would wonder, they are not the one who issue the car documents, isn't it?
Yes.
They're not the one who issue it. Why are they concerned about it? If there should be an enforcement, shouldn't it be a FRSC or a VIO?
No, you see, the primary duty of the police is to ensure enforcement of law and keep law and order. It is mandatory. It is lawful, and it is the law that you must have a third-party insurance minimum for your vehicle. You know, so it is the duty of the police to enforce it, to ensure that you have that minimum insurance cover before you apply on any Nigerian road. So they are doing their duty. It's law. It's enshrined in the code.
What
so
I'm saying
we
is,
should not interpret it in any way.
Wouldn't it be somewhat too much overburdening the police, given that they're adding this thing to their line of duty? I don't know this particular part to be a part of their line of duty to check insurance of vehicles on the road. I don't know them. We have Federal Road Safety Corps. We have the vehicle inspection officers. Those are offices that we know that deal with directly vehicles on the road. Well, why don't you push this thing? Why is the police the one pushing for this? Why is not FRSC or the VIO pushing for this?
Well, Charles, sorry if I say this, don't just feel, I don't know your age. Because there was a time in this country, you have some policemen that normally have this white something on their car.
Yes.
You know, there's a white something there, and that is the traffic, that's the traffic section of the Nigerian police.
Okay.
You know, initially when Federal Road Safety was set up and other, you know, there was this war between the police. They are feeling that these people are trying to take their jobs and whatever. Now, it is not official yet, at least as far as I know, that the traffic department or whatever of the police has been scrapped.
Okay.
They are still there. But the problem, like you get everybody wants to belong to the other side where maybe you do one investigation or whatever, you get some money, and not to go and be standing on the road, you are checking license. There was a time it used to be there will be an announcement, police will say, this week they will be conducting checks on vehicles to ensure that their papers are correct. It used to happen. But now, problem we are having is that there's this overlap in terms of duties and responsibilities. It's now left for government to now say, police, you are now divested of this role. It is now the responsibility of Federal Road Safety or whatever. You know, but for now, we've not been told, it has not been made public, as far as I know, unless, you know, I stand to be corrected, that police is no longer supposed to perform that responsibility. It is still their duty. It is still their role. It's not.
And still on Wednesday, Raymond Ken Mbata spoke to U.S. deportation. Still on Wednesday, and this is what he had to say about that conversation.
Going back to the Roman times, the Empire of Rome had encompassed the known world as at then, and different nationalities of people that have been conquered under the Roman Empire found their way to Rome as the capital city. So it's not a strange affair. If you want to be a world power, you should accept the fact that those countries which are now your subordinates, their citizens will come for a better life at the capital city or at the capital country per se. So Rome, as it been then, had also had to welcome immigrants into Rome. And at a point in time, the Roman Empire had to even promise a Pax Romana a Roman peace in the whole world. That means that the Roman police was now the police of the world. The Roman army was now like the protectors of the known world as at then. So they had to take on that liability and that responsibility because they were now in charge of administration of the world as at then in the whole provinces. And after the Roman peace expired, it's over time, Britain took over the Pax Britannica and assured peace around the British Empire, of which there was a time that even in Britain it was said that the sun never sets in the British Empire. So as huge and as large as that territory was, London became the focal point of all immigrants. And up till now, it still constitutes a makeup of those ethnic nationalities around the world, because at a point in time, the British government was administering different locales and different vicinities. So it's a thing that has to do with when you aspire for world power, you should have to take over the responsibilities of being a world power. And the Pax Britannica ended, and the Pax Americana succeeded that. And America now should accept the responsibilities of being the world police and also administering justice and social welfare around the world. And as such, definitely everybody's focal point will be in America. You cannot take one and leave the other. With those titles come their responsibilities. Definitely immigration in the United States. The last time such a mass deportation of people from the United States, undocumented illegal migrants, was in 1954. And since then, there has just been piecemeal ways of being able to address the issue of illegal immigration. And I think that presently under Donald Trump, it has turned into a TV show. And he is known for wanting to catch, he thinks everything is like, is like The Apprentice that he was hosting way back. And because it is causing hysteria, which it's not supposed to draw so much attention. I mean, countries around the world do this. I mean, I'm a product of immigration. My parents had me in India. India has never at any time made a mass deportation of people, but they bring some kind of policies that you know that it's not comfortable for you being here over time. They'll say, okay, we will not allow you to have Indian citizenship, but you can come here and have your education just as my parents did in the early 80s, and have your children, make a good life, but find your way back home when you can. And I think even under Obama, I think it became a bit lax. I'll say that it became a bit lax under Joe Biden, because the borders at a time, I mean, everybody was strolling in. But we should not say that should give the impetus for a national emergency up to the scale of what Donald Trump is doing. Is causing hysteria among the undocumented population. I mean, you have the agricultural sector being under the immigrant population. Most of the true-born American citizens wouldn't take some menial jobs.
Absolutely.
Yes, some services industry, cleaning,
even in construction too.
Yeah, construction. So I mean, who is going to do these jobs? Then don't even remove the fact that they also spend into the American economy. You get a point? And they are not liable to get housing and all that, but they still contribute to the economy of America. So I think that he would have been able to achieve this without the hula baloo that is coming with it, because he is just trying to create a sensation per se, because every country in the world does that. Germany did that. I mean, United Kingdom did theirs. Canada is presently even limiting the amount of foreign students coming. I mean, for education, because their welfare package is being stretched to the limit. I mean, their healthcare and their housing, they can't attend to it, but they did not cause this kind of furor.
And then on Thursday, our topic of discussion was on drug use and its abuse in social dimension. And Omunwa Ibezimako, a deputy commander and the LEA ENUGU, was here with us to do justice to that topic. Please take a listen.
Everybody takes drugs. But there are some drugs that is harmful.
Okay.
Even when you take drugs like Panadol, paracetamol, Panadol Extra, if you take these drugs outside the normal dosage, it's drug abuse. If you take these drugs outside the way the doctors have asked you to take, it's drug abuse. But for the purpose of why we are here, or why the federal government decided to establish NDLA, is there are some drugs that are prohibited by law, in that even if you have to, there are some certain conditions. Some are used for pharmaceutical purpose, but if you just go and procure them for the purpose of getting high, and you are arrested, you go in for it. That is what the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency.
Okay, so what would you say are the social or cultural factors that influence the use of drugs to the point of drug abuse?
Well, these predisposing factors, they are all around us. It's like sin.
Recording in progress.
You look to the right, is sin.
Recording stopped.
Sin is surrounding us. But even as at that, the Bible have advised us not to dwell in sin. There are so many reasons why people, especially here in Nigeria, get involved in drugs. Peer group. Like they say, if you don't talk to your child, other people will do it for you. Again, depression. They need to get along. Unemployment. Some of our youths today, or our young men, they will graduate 5-6 years, no employment. Why some, even the minimum wage will not be enough to cater for their daily needs. And for them to get away from all those problems, they take drugs. There are so many reasons. Job dissatisfaction. So many reasons.
Job dissatisfaction?
Yes.
How does job dissatisfaction make somebody use drugs?
Beautiful. You know, these days, we don't do what we like. We do what is available. So sometimes, if you're supposed to work for 5 hours and you're working for 10 hours, you're not happy with your job. There are some drugs that when you take, it will give you the energy to work those extra hours, in spite of the fact that you don't want to, but because you have to make ends meet, and that is what is available. So job dissatisfaction can make, at the slightest time you go and take some of those illicit drugs to give you strength to do those jobs, especially those menial jobs.
So what are the dangers of these kinds of things? Because so many persons will say it's for the good for themselves because they are doing extra work, but not knowing that there are actually dangers behind whatever those actions are.
Yes. Practically speaking, you know, there's this proverb that says it's easy to give cup and water to the monkey, but it's difficult to retrieve it. A lot of our children, you know, some of them become social or occasional, can't say chalo, you know, to get high. But at a certain stage, that's the level of dependence now. They take it. And those of us that are conversant with trending and happenings, Whitney Houston, she died of drug overuse. The daughter, Bobby, died in her bathtub. Amy Weinstein, is it She died of drug overuse. These are celebrities that are supposed to be role models. Here, we have been witnessing a couple of suicides, depression, drugs, and when it becomes too much, you see the person taking the unusual bow.
And finally, on Friday, Mr. Ifediora Amobi, an economist, spoke to federal government increases 2025 budget allocations. Do take a listen.
It wasn't really a shock per se, because these things happen. Government generates funds and generates revenue on a continuous basis, even after the budget has been signed in. And so it's not particularly a surprise. The only difference this time around is that it has been officially announced. What we have heard in the past is that even after the president assents the budget and the implementation starts, as revenue is generated from customs and VAT and the rest of them, it's usually warehoused somewhere and either implemented either as a supplementary budget. But in this case, what the president wants to do is to add it to the already existing budget, which is something new, and that's why it's a bit there's a bit of confusion around how it is going to be applied. But they have been specific in terms of two key areas where they want the funds to be channeled to, which is solid mineral development and infrastructure. It's actually clearer. However, there are still some ways that it could have been, or at least some other suggested ways that it could have been applied, better. When the budget was just passed in December. The budget is still being
looked at.
Yeah,
they submitted to the
House,
so they're still
December.
deliberating it.
Yes, and so it's still in the process of being finally assented, which hasn't happened yet. So it is not particularly out of place for this adjustment to be done, so that when it's approved once. However, when one looks at it critically, you can say, why, if these are windfalls that are coming in after the budget has been planned and after the budget process has gone on, why not channel it into areas that will impact the average Nigerian directly? Create jobs, areas where things can become a bit more affordable, where more monies can be put in people's pockets, as opposed to channeling them to, to certain sectors. I don't have a problem with infrastructure because that is critical. We need every penny we can muster to go into infrastructure. We need to get our roads, our power, our bridges, water supply, everything, housing. These are all, critical infrastructure that is required. For solid minerals, for me particularly, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. The reason I say that is because solid minerals is an area that is quite attractive, not only to local investors, but also foreign investors. And so if the solid minerals sector is packaged properly, investors will troop in and Nigeria can make a lot of money out of it. So you don't really have to put money into it unless, and although we haven't seen the details yet, unless part of this fund is going to go into the development of the solid mineral, in other words, packaging it for investment. Because, that is actually one area that one could have looked at. On the other hand, we have a huge deficit. Our foreign deficit today is probably about 35 or 30, 34.8 billion US dollars. If between December and now we have generated about 4.5 trillion naira, which is about $3 billion. If we can generate $3 billion in 2 months, and we have a deficit of about $30 billion, then another school of thought could say, why don't we use part of this windfall to pay off, at least, finance that deficit in the budget, or even take care of our debt. That way, there's less pressure on the economy for future revenues that will be generated. So it goes both ways. It has its good side, which is to know that, oh, at least, revenues are still being generated, and we can get up to, 3-4 trillion naira within a short period of time. And this is going to be ongoing. So this is not just a one-off.
Well, that's the much we can take for our Saturday retrospect. I'm sure you gleaned a thing or two from the conversations we had in the course of the week. Well, following the announcement of the compulsory third-party insurance policy for all Nigerian commuters, the Nigerian Police Force have actually gone out to begin to implement this policy in some states of the country. Well, and it's not without its own, backlash from some quarters. So this morning we're going to be discussing the third-party insurance policy in Nigeria and matters arising. Our guest is Mr. Chijioke Nwafo. He's an insurance and financial security expert. He joins us from via Zoom to say a thing or two based on his perspective on the subject matter. Good morning, Mr. Chijioke Nwafo.
Good morning to you.
Good
morning to you.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Chijioke, let's just get right into the subject matter. Now, in the course of the week, we have actually spoken somehow to this topic, but for the benefit of those who might be new to the conversation, could you, in very simple terms, define what third-party insurance policy means?
Well, for any commercial contract, there are 3 parties to a contract, okay? 2 parties to a contract. So this particular policy is called a third party because it has nothing to, the policy is designed to cover a third party, somebody that is not part of this particular contract entered into by the insurer and the insurer. And that's why it is called a third party. Simply means that the beneficiary of the policy is actually a third party. And that's why the policy is called a third party insurance policy.
All right. I am aware that before now, third-party policy, it's not new. It's not a new phenomenon in the transportation, ecosystem. But what would you attribute, the rave for, third-party? Why has it suddenly become so, important, if for lack of a better word, why the rave for third-party insurance policy? Because it's not something that is new. So what do you think led to all this new wave or rave for it?
Well, I think since 1945, it has been made compulsory in Nigeria that before you can put your vehicle on the road, you must have a third party, at least a third-party insurance policy. But the IGP just made a reference to it because most of the time, maybe as a policeman, they've seen on the road that most road users do not have a genuine third-party insurance policy. Hence, he re-emphasized it. It was enacted in 1945 Act, reinforced in 2003, and he just made a pronouncement to remind Nigeria that this particular document is a compulsory document for all motorists to have while on the road. So it's not something new. It's not something new. Also, occasioned by the fact that you see most road accidents, at the end of it or nothing happens. Somebody will be involved in an accident, a vehicle will knock someone down, and after spending about 9-10 months in hospital, the person will go and do Thanksgiving. What happens? That's not how insurance is supposed to work. That third-party policy is supposed to take care of that person, the injured person. And all this are not happening because there is no, most of them are applying this without genuine insurance policy. And that's actually what the IGP, to the best of my knowledge, it's not something new really. So just try to re-emphasize on what has been in existence even before 1945.
All right. I want you to speak to something that you mentioned once or twice in the course of your explanation. You mentioned genuine insurance policy. Now, what do you mean by genuine insurance policy? Are they fake insurance policies? And then speak to how the police, is involved in this whole situation. Are they there to identify the genuine from the fake, or they are there to implement? So very quickly, what do you mean by genuine insurance policy, and what is the role of the police in all this?
Well, if you apply Nigerian road recently, you see both the VIO, road safety, police, all those agencies that are in charge of the road, they'll go with their phone on hand, and when they see a registration, or you can even try it right there. Take your telephone, go to Google and just type NIID, Nigerian Insurance Industry Database. Once you type there, it will pop up something that will ask you to register your registration number. Once you put there and ask the system to confirm, the system confirm whether what you are having is a genuine one or whether it's an expired policy. So maybe out of their experience on the road, when they test most of these registration numbers along the road, and they've discovered that majority of them do not really have a genuine, an active insurance policy, and yet they are carrying some papers, at hand. Maybe that's why they came up with that idea to advise people to seek for genuine insurance policy while whenever they want to buy one.
All right, thank you very much. But could you speak to the role of the police right now? I know you're not a lawyer, but you have an experience with, insurance policies and implementation. Do you think the police force has, the police force have jurisdiction, over implementation of insurance policy? You mentioned it's contractual. It's between the insurance company and the client. What is the role of the police in all this? And why are they going out? You could see videos where commissioners of police go out to implement, this policy. What is their role really in this whole policy implementation?
I believe they have jurisdiction. Whenever there is a law in the country, it is for the police to make sure that people obey the law. So when the police are arrested for not obeying the law, I don't think they've gone out of their powers. It's within their powers to make sure that laws are obeyed in the country. And because of that, Section 68 of 2003 Insurance Act, made it compulsory for every vehicle owner to have a motor insurance policy before they put their vehicle on the road, at least a third party. So it is for the police to find out those, because it is their job to make sure that people obey the law. So I think it's within their jurisdiction. It is.
All right, Mr. Chijioke, could you tell us the limitations, or rather the coverage of this insurance? Because yes, that's become some sort of a buzzword, third-party insurance, but people don't know the extent of the coverage. Now let's use a hypothetical scenario where there is a car crash, probably between two cars, and one probably has third-party insurance. How does it pan out? Will the insurance cover for the damages for both cars or for the person that has the insurance? Just in real terms, let's understand how this works in real life.
Okay, let's take it that the two vehicles, all the two of them have third-party insurance, and one is at fault. The one at fault hit the other one and caused damage to the other vehicle, party's vehicle. With the third-party insurance certificate that the person has, that liability which he has incurred by hitting the other one, that policy that he has should take care of that repairs up to the tune of 3 million naira. If it's a bodily injury, it's unlimited. And that's why just the 15,000 naira will pay covers property damage up to the tune of 3 million and bodily injury unlimited. Unlimited means that if it takes 10 million naira for the medical examination or the treatment of the person, the policy pays. That's what it means. And if there is death, definitely they go look for the life expectancy and all the value of the person and pay the members of the family. That is how powerful this policy is. In addition, before now, when you want to travel with your car to maybe any West African country, you must go and look for what they call ECOWAS brown card. Now, if you have an emergency that you need to travel, you cannot take your vehicle beyond the borders of Nigeria without getting that ECOWAS brand card. So the industry agreed, like, let us incorporate that certificate, that ECOWAS brand certificate in our policy. Okay, so in that 15,000 naira, you have the ability to enjoy coverage all over the membership of West Africa ECOWAS, and also third-party property damage to the tune of 3 million, and the bodily injury or death, which is unlimited. That is what that particular 15,000 naira third-party policy covers.
All right. So, what are some of the challenges that policyholders may go through in trying to claim, compensation? How easy and seamless is the process when someone wants to lay claim, of compensation? Could you take us through the protocol?
Well, anything that I normally tell people that whatever that is worth having is worth insuring, and whatever that is worth insuring is best insured through a registered insurance broker. We all know that Nigerians don't like reading. An average insurance policy is a bit voluminous and technical. Most of the time when people read it, it's not interesting. So you really need a professional whose job it is to go through that policy and make sure that the conditions there satisfies the client. And whenever there is a claim, you don't need to start pursuing any insurance company. If you have placed your business through a broker, all you need to do is to refer the claim to your broker, who now pursues your claim on your behalf at no cost. You're not paying for it. So it's just because of lack of awareness that people go to licensing office or by the roadside to go and purchase insurance. The same 15,000 naira you pay anywhere, what you are going to pay. If you walk into a broker's office and say, look, I need a third-party insurance policy, please let me have it, and pay your 15,000 naira, we'll collect all your data, open a file for you. So whenever you have a claim, all you need to do is just to call your insurer, the insurance broker, who now takes it off from there. But if you don't have a broker and you have a loss of this nature, you may not know what to do next. So I think I would like to advise Nigerians to always place their insurances through a registered insurance broker.
All right, let me take you a little bit away from your area of expertise. I also trust that you will do justice to this question. Now, a very well-known insurance company in Nigeria has come up with a particular package right after this policy, began, to become enforced in Nigeria. They came up with a package called Third Party Plus, and they went on to reel out the benefits. Now, what this looks like from a particular point is maybe it was some kind of a political or power play where Nigerians are being told, okay, you must go for a compulsory insurance policy just to create the market, for this well-known insurance company to sell their product. What's your take on this?
Well, every organization has their marketing strategy. You can actually, fine-tune your policies to enable you carve a niche for yourself in the market. But provided that minimum requirement is satisfied, it's okay by the regulator. I'm sure it will be okay by the regulator. By the third-party plus, okay, fine. Third-party policy does not cover the insured. I may decide to design my own policy, come and take third-party plus. Yes, we can repair a third-party vehicle up to 3 million. How about your own? Okay, we can repair your own up to 250,000 or 500,000 naira. That becomes a plus. They will calculate the additional premium for that extra cover they are giving you and add it to the 15,000, which you will pay. Okay, so it's just a way of, trying to meet the needs of people, because some people may not have the money to pay for the comprehensive, but when they hear about this maybe top party plus, and it's okay, they can cash in on it and at least get some support when their own vehicle is damaged in the course of the accident.
Yes, Mr. Chijioke, you've explained what the package is all about, but my question really is, isn't it so convenient? Doesn't it look like it has become convenient for them to sell their package right after the heels of the announcement for third-party insurance? It seems as if it's convenient for them. So my question is, do you think the government it's a political play to create a market for this particular product from this well-known insurance company? So that is my question, really, and I want you to, respond to
No,
that.
I'm old enough in the industry to know that policy, that third-party plus, have been in existence for long time. It's not a new thing. Most insurance companies in Nigeria offer that third-party plus. You understand? So it's not a new thing. Maybe people are just getting to know of it after this announcement, but they have been in existence for a very long time. And moreover, third-party plus has nothing to do with the third-party cover itself, which the IGP is talking about. Whether you have the third-party plus or you have a ordinary third-party, the law requires you to have the minimum cover, which is a third-party policy. So whether you are carrying the third-party plus or you are carrying the ordinary third-party, it's the same thing. And to the best of my knowledge, third-party plus has been in the market for a very long time. This is not the first time. It's not new. It's not new. So if people cash in on immediately after the announcement to also sensitize people about it, I don't think they want to do it. The job may be a marketing strategy. It's not new. It's not new at all in the market.
All right, Mr. Chijioke, I feel that the issue of insurance is much like that of taxation, where you see Nigerians need a lot of sensitization and convincing to get on board. Now, as a financial security expert and, of course, an insurance expert, what sort of awareness is already, on the way or has been rolled out to ensure that people are well sensitized? Because from feedback from the people, some people are still saying, okay, give us some time, we need more sensitization. Do you think Nigerians really need sensitization, or you feel, yes, there should be time for people to be more aware before, punitive measures are meted out to commuters? What's your take on that?
When people talk about more time on this insurance third-party stuff, I just keep wondering. The act, the section 1 and 2 of Insurance Act 2000, that if you don't have it and you are caught driving without an insurance, is a 250,000 naira fine or 1 year imprisonment or both. So it is not. It's just that the current leadership of the National Insurance Commission, the regulator of the insurance industry, had taken it upon themselves to make sure that Nigerians become aware of it, that it's a criminal offense for you to put your vehicle on the road without any insurance protection. And that's why they started by visiting the Commissioner of Police, from where this particular statement was made. They have visited the road safety and other agencies of the government that had to do with road management, and they are getting results. They have also engaged themselves in the desensitization program, for adverts, flyers, and all that in most states of the Federation. They have a standing committee on implementation of compulsory insurance in Nigeria, which is chaired by them and managed by them, and they are doing a very great job in trying to sensitize people. And Nigeria is a very large country. If you go to Lagos State, for example, you can't even put your vehicle on the road in Lagos now with type of mechanisms they have put in place, or have your put up a building without insurance now anymore. So they are taking it gradually. Lagos, Abuja, and other states, with time, they will cover the entire 30 state of the Federation. But one thing what we should know is that insurance is not part of our culture. It's a borrowed culture. Okay, and in the West, you cannot point to a vehicle on the road without insurance. And I can tell you, the premium we pay in Nigeria here for motor insurance, one of the cheapest in the world. You can go just Cameroon here. You can cross across to Cameroon and get a third-party policy for as low as 15,000 naira. It doesn't work that way, but because of our size, population, insurance is based on law of large number. The premium is so low so that people can be encouraged. You cannot say you can afford a vehicle of maybe 200,000 naira. Let me see if there's any with such a value, and you cannot afford 15,000 naira to buy a third-party insurance policy. So I don't think it is something new. It's just that they are re-emphasizing on the need for people to have that particular policy, which has been made compulsory by law with penalties attached to it in some sections of the 2003 Act.
All right, Mr. Chijioke, we have been discussing, the policy as regards to individual commuters. Now, let's talk about companies like haulage companies and oil companies that will have to transport products, in large, heavy-duty vehicles. Does this policy also cover them, and does it play out differently for them? In view of the recent tanker explosions, in Niger State and, of course, in Enugu State? Please speak to us on that.
Yeah, it does. The 15,000 actually is for cars. As you graduate, maybe to a minibus, to a truck, to a trailer, the premium is changes from 15,000 to up to 200,000 naira. So the liability attached to that particular policy did not exempt the petroleum vehicle or this. It says third-party liability. Third-party liability. So be it a tanker, be it a truck, be it a car, the liability remains the same. Once the liability is incurred, the policy should be able to stand for it. As a matter of fact, I don't see a third party as a very, with the type of rules we have in this country, and it's not even lucrative for insurance companies to write it. But because the law, it has been made compulsory by law, we must write it. You understand? So those tanker accidents and those trailer accidents on the road, the third party policy is designed to cover such liabilities whenever they occur.
All right, still on the tanker explosion and the mayhem, after its week. Now, I had this conversation with a guest earlier on, and I was asking the guest, I said, are there punitive measures that are going to be meted out to these companies after probably an inquiry into the cause of the explosion implicates certain people? Now, in this case, if after the inquiry comes up with the fact that there were no third-party insurance policies to cover the tankers, are there going to be punitive measures against those companies? In this case, case in view being the recent explosions in Nigeria.
Well, you see, like I said, Section 2 of the Act, spelled out the penalty for anybody that does not have it. As a matter of fact, in some crime, when you drive your vehicle without insurance certificate, okay, they may look at you as, they may charge you for attempted murder. You don't have a driver's license, you don't have an insurance, and you put your vehicle on the road. Some laws will charge you for attempted murder. For the mere fact that if a driver is found guilty of reckless driving that took the life of people, the person can be prosecuted under the law and definitely pay the price, So that's just...
all right, let's go back to the compensation that I spoke to earlier. What exactly is the turnaround time for an insurer to receive compensation? How long does it take for the insurance company to respond, positively to a policy, user?
Well, it depends on when you lodge the claim. Okay, whenever there's an accident, sure, they may have some time frame with which you must lodge your claim. But there's something we call date of knowledge. Sometimes you may not even know that you have such, the third party may not know that such policy exists, or the members of the family may not know that such policy exists. And once they realize, they can lodge their claim, even without going through once they can get the insurance company that covers that particular, they can lodge their claim directly without going through the negligent party. But like I said, if you have a policy through an insurance broker, the broker takes it up upon themselves to place lodge all those claims on the behalf of the injured third party and make sure they have their claims settled. You understand? So it is, some policy will say you must notify us within 7 days or 2 weeks, but that notification clause is subject to date of knowledge, because sometimes an accident may happen, you may not even know that you have so and so right, or may not identify who is at fault or who you should hold responsible. Whenever you identify those ones, then the time start counting on you. So there's always a time frame, and our regulator, the National Insurance Commission, now have set up a template for the insurance industry that whenever a claim happens, is notified, you must time it within certain period to settle that claim. Claims are now settled faster than before. So if anyone suffers the claim and notifies the claim, I can prove his claim. Sometimes 60 days, 30 days, depends on the documentation requirement and the delay from the third party. The claim is settled.
All right, so in an event where, God forbid, this is hypothetical, maybe there was an accident and probably the policy user dies in that accident and probably nobody knows he's a user of an insurance policy. Are you saying that the company will not try to reach out, or maybe for some reasons got to know that this person has passed? I mean, is there a policy or a clause that says you go out and reach out to your user, to your clients, rather than wait for them to come and probably may not even be aware? I mean, the relative may not, be aware that such policies exist. Is there a clause in your policy that says, okay, we are the insurance company, we can reach out to our clients?
Yeah, insurance company can. Under one of the basic principles of insurance is utmost good faith, and it's a two-way thing. Why you are expected to tell insurer everything that you know about the business, it is also the duty of the insurer to make sure that an accident and accident is insured by me. They can actually on their own go out and look for those people that are injured. But whenever there is an accident, members of the family of both the insured and the insurer definitely visit the police station and that is where the documents, the issue of who insured this particular vehicle can be gotten, because we have so many insurance companies in Nigeria, and once they know the particular one that particular insurance company that covers such a vehicle, they can take up the claim from there, or at least make it known, because the insurer A may not know that this vehicle belong to him, especially when there's a fire incident. Everything is burnt. It's only the policeman, and the owners of the vehicle, if it's a company vehicle, that will give the police people the particulars of the vehicle to enable them to do the further tracing to get to the insurer of the vehicle. Also identify the person as their insurer. Like there are some companies that will know who their insurers are. Okay, maybe talk of Bobo, talk of all these big insurance, big multinational company. Whenever their vehicles are involved in an accident, the insurer knows, because they are the exclusive insurers of their vehicle, so they can actually activate it on their own without the insured or the third party coming after them.
All right, let's talk about insurance premium. How exactly is it calculated per client? Does it ever increase in time, maybe in line with market forces? And if an insurer probably defaults in payment of premium, how is it tackled? Just tell us all we need to know about premium and the way it's calculated.
Well, the minimum premium you pay for private motor in Nigeria is 15,000 naira. Like I said, it's graduated to 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, and 200,000 for tankers and trailers. But that's for third party. But for comprehensive, the rate is 10%, between 5 and 10%, depends on how good the risk is. Okay, if you have a very good risk, an insurance man can charge as much as 5% or as low as 5% of the sum insured, the value of the vehicle. But as more risk is being identified, the risk can move from 5% to between 5 and 10%. Now, the premium also, when you have multiple claim experience, the insurance company can apply some other measures, like increasing the policy excess. Excess in insurance means the portion of loss the insured is meant to bear. Portion of loss that you bought your car for 10 million naira today, you insure it today, and it is stolen today. Insurance company cannot give you 10 million. They give you something like 9 million. That 10% becomes the portion of loss you are going to bear as the insured. That makes you be more careful while handling the subject matter of insurance. So if, for example, the person has repeatedly, been involved in multiple claims, that 10% policy excess could be increased to maybe 15 or 20%. We call it a punitive measure, underwriting measure, to punish you for the frequency of your claim, so that people who lodge less claim will continue to enjoy the benefit of that policy excess, while people that bring in more claim will have to pay more to cover for their, because insurance is just a matter of a pool. You know, if one particular person keep drawing from that pool, the pool could get dry. So as he's drawing, he should be putting more than others to be able to balance the pool and make it afloat, so that the pool doesn't run dry. Because if it runs dry, it means that the company has gone into liquidation. You understand? So that's how insurance operates and how they do their pricing. So for now, the third party motor for private is 15,000,